Hello everyone and welcome back into my kitchen. Come on, let's make this recipe. Today, the country that we're visiting is Cambodia, and I am going to make some Cambodian style fried chicken. So again, wash this with lime juice and water, patted it dry, and I'm using my little toothpick here, and I went through and I made little holes all over my chicken just to create a pathway for my marinade to go in. And let me show you what we're going to be seasoning this with. I'm going to use a little bit of my chicken bouillon, only about a half of a teaspoon. Garlic powder, I'm going to use about a teaspoon. Onion powder, again about a teaspoon. Black pepper, half a teaspoon. Also going to go in with my Maggi seasoning here, about a half of a teaspoon. Oyster sauce, a little more than a tablespoon. And last but by no means least, I have some fish sauce here. I'm gonna only use about a teaspoon or so, or a little less than a teaspoon. This stuff is pretty salty, so you want to be careful with it because other stuff in here has salt. So I'm just going to give this a good mix. Make sure every single piece of chicken is coated, and in the fridge will go. I don't know if I mentioned that I cut each wing into half. Alright, so here it is. I'm going to lid this up, put it in my fridge, let it soak overnight. Like they say back in the Caribbean, let it soak. And then we'll come on back and make this. Now guys, remember that this is a collab, and I would like you to go down in my description box and check out what my friends will be doing. There are links to each channel as well as the dish that they'll be making. Okay, see you tomorrow. Alright guys, so it is now the next day and my wings have marinated. It smells delicious. And now let me show you here what our breading essentially is. I have here a half of a cup of all-purpose flour, half of a cup of cornstarch, and what I have is a half a teaspoon of each of these. Half teaspoon black pepper, onion powder, hot chili pepper, garlic powder. I put a little bit of all-purpose seasoning also, half a teaspoon, turmeric, and baking powder. Okay? When you get this all mixed together, and then we'll start breading our chicken. Alright, so now that that's all mixed up here, I'm just going to put them in here and get them breaded. I want to make sure you have some nice coverage on them. Like so. If you can avoid making a mess like I am, that's great too. Alright, so once these are breaded, I'll show you what I'll do. Let me do all of them and then we'll do the next step. Alright, so in my bowl here that I had my chicken marinating in, I'm just going to add some water to that so we don't lose any of that flavor. And what we're going to do now is dip our chicken in here briefly and back into our flour mixture. I'm going to do that for all the pieces. Okay, I'll do that and come on back. Alright guys, so it's time to fry. And whenever you're cooking meat or poultry or whatever, please remember to take your meat or your poultry out of the refrigerator at least 30 minutes or so ahead of time, just to give it a chance to come closer to room temperature. What I have in here is some canola oil. And you know me, always trying to sneak flavor into everything. So I just put a few pieces of onion and a clove of garlic in there just to flavor my oil. And what I like to do is do the drumettes together and then do the flats together so they cook evenly. So in we go. Smells wonderful. And I have my heat ripping right now because I know that once I put the chicken in there, it's going to drop the temperature of my oil. So once I see that it starts bubbling up again and it's at a good temperature, I'll go down to about medium or a little higher than and then medium, and I'm going to allow it to cook for about 11 to 12 minutes. So at the 6-ish minute mark, I'll flip it over and we'll do the other side, okay? Okay, our drumettes are done and we're working on our flats right now. So what I want to do is, after these have had their time in the oil, I'm going to take them out, crank my heat up to really high, and give them a second fry so that the outside can be really crunchy, okay? So now my oil is ripping hot, and I'm going to go back in with my chicken for another maybe two minutes, but watch it, you don't want to burn it, okay? Just to get a nice crust on them. Alright? Guys, so this is my final product. I'm serving that with a nice fresh salad made of cabbage, some peppers, cucumbers, red onion, sweet chili sauce back here. Look at that. This is crunchy, guys. Believe me when I tell you. Now, guys, please remember that this is a collaboration. I would really love it if you would go on down in my description box and check out what my friends are making. We're each making a dish from Cambodia, and we have a lot of dishes in store for you. Thank you again for coming back into my kitchen. I sincerely appreciate you, and I hope you come back next time when I promise to make another delicious recipe. Bye!